A red-haired commoner, a royal naval officer, and a courtship that started with laughter, ended in silence, and left a long shadow across the royal landscape. The story of Sarah Ferguson and Prince Andrew was never just about love. It was about duty, protocol, scrutiny, and the spaces between expectation and reality. Before we begin, there's something I need to say. Many of you are watching and returning, but haven't subscribed. If you enjoy these royal stories told plainly and powerfully, take a moment now. Subscribe to Crownverse and don't miss the next chapter behind the palace gates. They met again in 1985, though their social paths had crossed for years. Sarah Ferguson, spirited and unfiltered, was already part of the royal circuit. She grew up in aristocratic circles and knew Princess Diana from childhood. Diana, already wed to Prince Charles and under pressure of her own, reportedly encouraged Andrew to pursue Sarah. It made sense. She was lively, familiar, not intimidated by royal formalities, and her background, while not noble, was respectable. The match moved quickly. Publicly, it looked like joy. Their engagement was announced in early 1986. Sarah brought energy, a modern presence, and, to some, a refreshing change from the stiffness associated with royal brides. The Queen reportedly approved. The press approved even more. But approval is not affection. And once the wedding glow faded, the challenges began. Sarah married into the monarchy with enthusiasm, but enthusiasm within those walls is not always welcome. She laughed loudly, she was candid, she engaged with the press, sometimes too freely, and behind palace doors, the ease she brought into her marriage didn't always extend to royal protocol. There were whispers, some in the press, others likely within palace staff, that Sarah was too brash, that she didn't understand the weight of restraint expected from a duchess. The image of a modern woman was still a challenge for the institution, and Sarah, perhaps unknowingly, tested that boundary early and often. Financial management became a recurring issue. She spent beyond her allowance. Her wardrobe, travel, and personal expenses drew criticism. Officially, little was said, but unofficially, there were tensions. Courtiers reportedly found her difficult to advise. The press, once enchanted, turned critical. Headlines mocked her weight. Others questioned her fashion choices, her parenting, her social calendar. Inside the palace, the tone shifted too. While the Queen maintained cordiality, some senior royals and their advisors reportedly kept their distance. She felt it. She said as much in later interviews, that she was judged, excluded, misunderstood. Whether those perceptions matched reality is hard to say, but in royal life, perception often is reality. Her marriage to Andrew struggled almost from the beginning. His naval duties kept him away, sometimes for months at a time. Sarah, left to raise their daughters alone, felt abandoned. Andrew, steeped in duty and loyal to the military, didn't always see the strain. Their time apart widened the cracks. By the early 1990s, the distance was no longer just physical. Then came the headlines. In 1992, photos emerged of Sarah on holiday with an American businessman. The images were intimate. The reaction was instant. Public humiliation, tabloid frenzy, palace embarrassment. The Queen was reportedly furious. The royal family, still bruised from Charles and Diana's crumbling marriage, now had another scandal to manage. Sarah was quickly removed from the inner circle. Her titles remained, But her presence did not. She and Andrew formally separated. In royal terms, that meant exile. She was no longer invited to major events. She was financially limited, reliant on Andrew's support and what she could earn independently. She attempted business ventures, wrote children's books, took interviews, but the palace did not forget. Still, the dynamic between Sarah and Andrew remained unusually warm. Despite the separation and eventual divorce, they continued to co-parent closely, lived on the same estate, were seen publicly together. Rumors of reconciliation circulated for years, but nothing formal ever returned. To the monarchy, however, closeness was not the same as compliance. Sarah's public appearances, commercial efforts, and unfiltered interviews kept her on the periphery. She was not embraced back into the fold, even as she maintained a presence near it. Andrew, while technically her ex-husband, remained her closest ally. That alliance would become more complicated in the years ahead. When Prince Andrew became embroiled in allegations surrounding Jeffrey Epstein, Sarah's past associations with Epstein, including accepting financial help to pay off debts, returned to the surface. An old email referring to Epstein as a supreme friend resurfaced and drew criticism. Charities quietly cut ties. The palace, again, distanced itself. The broader narrative of Sarah Ferguson's royal journey is shaped by contradictions. She was welcomed, then rejected, included, then erased, supported in private, sidelined in public. Her own actions, often impulsive, sometimes naive, played a role, but so did the institution's discomfort with unpredictability. There were moments when she tried to return, public gestures of loyalty, a show of support during royal events, statements of gratitude for the Queen's kindness. But the monarchy, despite its reputation for forgiveness, is not built for reintegration. Once outside the circle, returning takes more than charm. It takes silence, patience, and a willingness to disappear before reappearing. Sarah rarely disappeared. She stayed visible. And in royal terms, that's rarely a path to restoration. And yet, through it all, she remained Fergie, unpolished, unapologetic, and emotionally accessible in a way few royals ever are. That accessibility made her beloved in some circles and a liability in others. What went wrong inside those palace walls? It depends on who you ask. Some say it was ambition, that Sarah underestimated the cost of public life, that she thought charm could replace discipline. Others say it was royal coldness, an unwillingness to accept difference, to embrace a duchess who laughed too loudly and spoke too freely. The truth likely lies between the two. Sarah Ferguson was not a villain, nor was she a victim. She was a woman caught between tradition and personality, between a rigid system and a shifting culture. Her story is not just about marriage, it's about the cost of being different in a place that demands sameness. And even now, decades later, the legacy remains complicated. She attends some events. She's seen with her daughters. She speaks kindly of the Queen, who she said never judged her. But she is not fully back, not in ceremony, not in role. Her place is adjacent, not central. And in that distance lies a lesson about the crown, about protocol, and about what it means to belong. If you enjoyed this journey into the hidden world of the crown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us here on Crownverse, where Crown history lives on.